The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us right now, send us an email. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
Hello, y'all.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful fall morning out there. It was cold when I went out with the dogs this morning.
Well, it's nice. It was very hot this week, and it was supposed to be everything rainy today. So hopefully we'll stay where we are now, where it's to me it's nice. It's a nice cool. You can go outside and it's maybe just beyond the shorts weather, but you can still probably get the shorts and be nice and comfy. So I'm happy with it. I like it this way.
I usually jump out of bed in the morning and I go out in the backyard with the dogs, and I'm fine in my nightgown. But this morning, for some reason, I'm like, let me grab a sweater. And it was a good thing I put a sweater over my nightgown because it was cold out there. And the grass was dewy and wet, and yeah.
You need to lady up.
Lady up.
Lady up.
I think that was, if I was going to lady up, then I'd be prissy and just sitting down doing nothing.
Wow. I just want to know that.
That's that's what I would want to do. That's what I want to do. I'm at that point in my life now where...
For you women that are insulted by that comment, please write in and let her know.
Instudio101@gmail.com for today.
Sorry, then I shouldn't have said, that's what I want to be sitting like the queen. Sorry.
You're ruining for all those women that are
what?
Looking to take over the world.
Okay, well, I'm just looking to take over my life. Never mind the world. If I can get control of my life, I'll be happy.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's Thanksgiving weekend. It's a lovely fall. The leaves are falling. People got pumpkins out already.
This reference for our American friends, it's the Canadian Thanksgiving for our friends out in the States.
Yes, sorry about that. I didn't mean to discredit you guys. It's just a long weekend here, but we don't have a long weekend, as you can see, because we're working today, we're working tomorrow. We're actually working in the morning. Then I have to cook half the Thanksgiving dinner because my sister's doing half. And yeah, so that's my day.
So I was waiting for you to finish because I just want to say you seem to be doing a lot of apologizing today.
Am I?
Yeah.
Was I apologizing?
Yeah.
Why do you still have your... Oh, I tore your Hugo Boss.
I won't know what size this one is.
You know what's funny? I just meant to pull the dry cleaning. Okay, it's Lululemon you got on. Sorry. It was funny because I was sitting in the car.
That's a Lululemon shirt?
Yes.
Or sweater?
Oh, Lululemon's got some nice, just casual, not workout clothes now. They've come along in the world.
Yeah,
but anyways, I was sitting in the car in the underground parking here, and I sat there and I was gathering up all my stuff, and I'm like, and then I was thinking, because when, I go on YouTube and I'm watching what's going on in the world, real estate, and everybody is so professional and just like they got their real estate channel and they're all up and they're all professional, and I'm like, we're not. Like, is that
you're
bad?
Not.
No, but
yourself.
we're not like, I feel like I'm not stuffy. This is me. Okay, yeah, my hair is out of place, and I don't know, guys, you tell me. You're our listeners. Do you like the way our show is, or do you think we should be or in Randy's words, I should be more professional. I don't know. I just think we have fun with it and we enjoy it.
I think you're right. You're not professional, and we can leave it right there. And everyone else is.
Anyways,
so that's something you should really consider.
Our email is still not working, Anthony, so what are we doing?
We are sending them for today at instudio101@gmail.com. I apologize again. We let Randy into the computer's system, and you know what happens when he gets in there. So we are working on it. It's a bit tougher than we thought, but hopefully by next week we'll be back to our...
They'll come back big and bad.
Yeah, so...
Actually, our email addresses will all change.
For me, who doesn't really, I'm not professional, I'll deal with the email thing.
Okay.
But we'll have the .pro forwarded, but basically we'll be changing them. Okay, so, trying not to join in my wife's little soliloquies there, I'd like to move into what's actually happening. The temperature is dropping. The carbon tax is working. It is. It took a long time, but, it seems to really be working. Whenever we start getting into the fall, winter months, the carbon tax is really cooling things down.
So this is why you wanted me to be quiet? So you could talk about the bloody carbon tax that you always try to make a joke and nobody gets your jokes. But they're dry.
Even before you go on, I filled up my tank yesterday and I paid less than $100, which is, for recently, it's amazing because usually it's like 110, 120. So
it used
Where
to
do
be
you
like
go?
60.
Yeah, you're true. You are right. When I say recently, I mean like the last 2 months.
So where do you go to get gas, though?
I go to Costco.
He went to his neighbor's house.
He siped the gas out. That's why it was $20 cheaper.
It tastes horrible, but it's fun.
I don't think it'll last, but I'm just saying for the last week or so. And what's crazy is it's still like $1.44, which is still crazy, but like...
It used to be in this 180s,
yeah, when it's 160, 170, we feel nice now because it's 140. When
I know.
It's yeah, anyways, but...
It's brainwashing people. They're brainwashing us.
139.9.
139.9? Okay.
Oh, is that Costco or is that...
Costco.
Costco,
See, I
yeah.
should have waited till today then.
I never look at what it is. I just go fill up. And then I usually come to work and he hands me the keys and he says, oh, my car needs gas. So I leave to do that because he doesn't pump gas. He doesn't put air in the tires. He doesn't put oil in the car.
Well, what's all this? What's all this?
Well, you said I wasn't professional.
No, yeah. So,
Yeah, what?
you're
No,
right.
no.
You're very...
Thank you.
You're very correct.
He's a kept man.
She treats me very, very good, and that's why we're in 24 years plus, right? Can't hold on to a
Me?
man like this and not
I
be...
thought you were praising me and then you pick up yourself. What the hell is that?
It's called the flip.
It's called the whole butt, the zinger. When that butt comes in, it's like zing.
So on top of the carbon tax,
Oh, jeez.
we have Bank of Canada also making history, of course, losing more money. Well, Bank of Canada's never ever lost money before, but they're losing, all kinds of billions of dollars a year now. It's really fascinating. And on top of that, they are single-handedly trying to bankrupt a certain percentage of the population. And if you don't believe that, just listen to their talks. Whenever they say pain, what that means is that you won't be able to afford stuff and you may go bankrupt. Some people will go bankrupt. Some people will lose their houses, and that's what pain means. And you'll hear in their discussions, they'll talk about it all the time. So that's the nice way of us listening to them without freaking out. But
And taking the brunt of their mistakes.
But the truth of the matter is, this whole thing is caused by them. So moving on, inflation is now at 4%. So here I decided I wanted to go back to July 2022 when inflation hit 8.1%, and everybody's freaking out. The Bank of Canada is having, just saying, we can't have inflation at this rate. It will destroy the economy. So what the Bank of Canada decided to do is destroy the economy themselves. So because they don't want the inflation to destroy the economy, it's got to be done by us. And so they decided that they would jack up the rates, and now all kinds of people are losing their homes. the real estate market is not one of the areas they concentrate on. They look at it and they see the metrics and what's going on there. Usually, long after, like they see it, per quarter. They're not really in the game, but they're seeing it. And they're realizing that they are really destroying the marketplace, making it the most unaffordable time in history. And so it's very, very difficult for people to buy. I'm hearing that demand is extremely low. And why they're saying that demand is extremely low is because sales are down. And sales are down 7.1%, right, over last year. And last year was a very horrible time. So we're at 20-year lows. Detached homes actually are, in terms of sales, where are we? Down 7% as well. And it's a 20-year low for detached home sales. So does that mean, and this is what I'm hearing at all the YouTubers that are out there, and I'm just going to say that they're better, smarter, and everything than
who?
than I am.
No, that's not true. Sorry.
However, given that, I don't believe that the demand is down. I believe people want to buy. Showings are doing well.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. It's very, very, very difficult to buy. I mean, we're talking about, to qualify now, you're looking at 6 and change, and then you have to add 2 points on top of that to qualify. So you're qualifying like 7 and 8%. And remember, the prices of homes aren't cheap. The average detached home in Toronto is over $1.7 million. The average. And if you look throughout the whole entire GTA, we're looking at about a little over 1.4 on average to buy a home. So, you couple that with having to qualify at 8%. Holy smoke.
Yeah.
You have to be, this is why we don't hear the term millionaire anymore. If someone's a millionaire, they're not wealthy, right? You have to be a billionaire now to be considered wealthy. And so the whole paradigm is shifted. People are feeling the pinch. And I will tell you though, in the bit of research that I've done, these kind of issues, these are transformations. We call them transformation of wealth, because what's happened is that throughout COVID, when all that stuff was going on, the Bank of Canada went and put all kinds of money into the system, and that's why we're feeling the crunch that we're feeling. Many different countries are feeling it as well. Interest rates were really low, so the price of getting money was cheap, and then the Bank of Canada was saying, borrow, 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 we'll keep rates low for a long time. Then they jumped out of the curtains and said, gotcha, and then just started raising up rates crazy, and basically, really at this point in time, made life unaffordable. Now, because of that, I believe that the Trudeau government is going to be kicked out. They will no longer exist, and he may pull a Kathleen Wynne, in the sense to totally destroy the Liberal Party. I think that may be their only chance to switch to a new person prior to the election, but I don't really see it happening, because the more I watch Justin Trudeau, the more I realize that he is a bit full of himself, and I know that personality very well, because I
Do you know somebody?
see it. I do see it often.
Yeah, I do too.
And but basically, right now, inflation's at 4%, but we had inflation in July down to 2.8%. So the thing is that if we were so close, why could we not get there? And well, the truth of the matter is that life right now is very hard. The price of everything is very high. Never mind trying to maintain affordability on your home if your mortgage is coming due is practically impossible, in the sense that a good 20% of the population will lose their home. 20%, not population, 20% of the people who have mortgages that are being renewed, they will lose their home.
And where are they going to go?
And this is it, because the rental prices are bad. So we are in a crisis, and something has to be done about it. Now I'm listening to what's going on. We have Doug Ford, who I see things differently than a lot of people have, and a lot of people believe that that was a corrupt move that he did. I think that's propaganda. Personally, I don't think he's going to risk what he has for that, although he probably lost 30% of the swing votes in that with this going on. But the point being is that with the green belt, building on the green belt was probably a bad idea for him because of all the bugs and lizard lovers out there. They're going to lose their hair, tie themselves to trees and stuff like that. And he's just going to create a nightmare. So that in itself may have been a bad idea. But I think he's on to something. Listen, guys, we need housing. We really do. And right now, with the number of housing that we have, with the number of people that need housing, all that's going to happen is there's going to be a huge pressure on the marketplace for more housing, which is just going to drive prices up more. And then you're going to have a rogue Bank of Canada trying to bring, or Justin Trudeau or any government, trying to come into what they're calling affordability, and therefore they're going to be putting even more artificial pressures into the marketplace, discombobulating it. The moral of my story, is there a moral of my story? The 2.8% inflation that we had back in July, if the Bank of Canada lowered the interest rates, it would have caused a problem. People would have went out and buying, but it would have brought inflation in line. And so what does that really mean? If you can bring inflation in line, but now you're going to stir up demand, because, I wanted to correct one thing, because 0.8 of the inflation is the inflation on housing. So if they removed the inflation on houses and brought down the mortgage rate so that the people who have the variable rates could actually afford their mortgage, inflation would have fell in line. But they can't do that, because if they bring inflation in line that way, people are going to start buying like crazy again. And that's going to cause other issues, right? So that tells me that the 2% inflation that they're shooting for and bankrupting a good portion of our marketplace shouldn't be the real target. Because if you get to that target, it doesn't mean that everything is okay. And so I think they should stop with this garbage. I think, the fact that they're trying to make this the most important thing in their mandates is actually probably old. It's probably one of those old technologies that were around before that they're still using, and now we're feeling the pain of it, especially if they're using it after they've done quantitative easing, which is the real reason that inflation has shot up, because they shut down the supply chains and all that stuff. It's not because we got out of COVID. So moral of the story, I don't believe that a 2% is the target rate to solve all of our problems.
Okay.
The moral of the story is we need smaller chunks.
You need to breathe more in between.
I'm sure there's a lot of good information there, but it might be overwhelming some of our listeners as well, because I tell my wife all the time, give me the meat first and then explain. Meat, then explain.
Because that was 20 minutes
So
of constant. What was the moral of that?
So hold on.
no,
It's
no,
19 minutes in, so it couldn't have been 20 minutes. That's a start.
Oh.
And then you talked about, what did you talk about at the beginning? Absolutely nothing. I don't know what they got out of it. And then you started insulting women. and then you, on the other end, yeah, that's right. Let's go.
Before we get to the domestic violence here. So
Hold on. I do want to say that you attacked me and I attacked Jackie. How did that work? I should have just saved the attack. Oh, no, because you said
So
something.
do you have an
jumped
apology
in.
to make?
I apologize, Anthony.
Thank you, because I was feeling kind of bad there, but I
Were
appreciate
you?
that. Yeah, so a lot of stuff there, but so you're saying that with the if the Bank of Canada didn't increase the rates, that would have brought inflation down?
No.
Okay,
What I'm
wait.
saying.
Let's get the
Closed
version. Yes.
Yeah. So no. Yeah. Because if I say it long, you still won't get it. So we'll try the shorter version. If the Bank of Canada brought the rates down, so that the people who have those variable mortgages that can't afford to pay their principal and interest payments can. Then affordability in the mortgage world would have
in the
come in
mortgage world.
line.
Okay.
Housing, actually more specifically in housing, would have come down, and inflation would have fell to the 2% range.
But that's a bit short-sighted in my opinion.
It is.
Because sure, on the payment side it will come down, but what's going to happen is the same that happened before, where I don't think we'll get the same bidding wars again before, but if it's easier to get houses and more people can afford them, they're going to again start bidding it up. So wouldn't that kind of counteract that as well?
Exactly, and that was my point. If you caught it, but you were too busy rolling your eyes, so you missed it.
So what you're saying is you speak for 20 minutes. See, I said everything you said in, was that 2 minutes?
Actually, no. You
not
asked
quite 2
questions
minutes.
and you got it wrong. The thing is that the 2%. So here was my point. My point was is if they did that, you're right, that it would stir up the market, and I did say that. But we would be at our 2%. So here's the thing, if our target is to get to the 2% and they were to perform this maneuver and we got to the 2%, it would not have solved our problem. And right now, everything they're doing is to get to the 2% because supposedly they'll solve our problems, but I just pointed out that it wouldn't. And that's why I don't believe that should be the target. I think there's many more considerations that we should have, and we should end this mandate and policy of the Bank of Canada.
And even to add on to that, even with that 2%, because you said at the beginning that we're up 4%, and these numbers are year
Now.
over year. Yeah, now 4%. That's
It climbed.
That's year over year. Yes?
Year over year.
So that's if you look at that even closer, that's crazy to begin with itself, because we're 4% year over year.
And it was 6.3 last year at this time.
Right? So basically, if you have 2 years, that's what, 10%
Right.
in that 2 years. So even if we get down to 2% this year, it's still 2% over the ridiculous numbers
Yeah,
of last year. So
exactly.
to me, we should be aiming for 0% or negative, because it's like we can't afford last year and we're above last year.
True,
Right, so-
but that would be impossible.
Yeah,
it would be
yeah.
impossible. You know what?
I think they need to start increasing people's incomes. I'm sorry. You want to keep increasing everything else.
that's going to cause more problems. You see,
But
Jack.
people can't afford.
Oh, no, I
right,
get
to
it.
even
I get it.
buy
But that's the
food,
goal.
Randy.
The goal is that people can't afford it. Therefore, they don't have the money to buy the stuff, and the
Therefore, they
manufacturers have to drop their prices
don't
in order
spend,
to get
yeah.
more sales. That is the philosophy, and it's not working.
Right.
Corporations are making more money than ever
It
before.
goes back to Tim Macklin, right, with the whole bonus, right? We don't give them more money because they're going to spend the money, which is going to make the inflation. Remember that?
And they gave bonuses out
Yes,
for
yeah.
destroying our economy.
Yeah.
It really is insane. But you know what? The reality of the matter is, okay, fine. So we're stuck with these problems. What is it that we can do? Because if we've got to live through this, if this is the way it's going to be, trust me when I say, if we are just sitting back and saying that, oh, well, you know what, we're just going to have to all become poor, because that's really what's happening. The middle class has shifted to the poor, and the poor has shifted to homeless. And that's what's going on. And the upper middle class has shifted to the middle class. That's what's going on. Cash right now is king. It will not stay like this. It's going to change. I'm not going to say it's going to get better. It's just going to get different. And so we have to begin to wrap our heads around this. We have to begin to deal with it. We have to begin to make it ours. And I know that's really hard when you don't have money, right? Because if you don't have money. But now, we have to go back to the days of having 2-3 jobs. Unfortunately, there is no other way around it.
But
You won't
there's
be able to keep
people that had 2-3 jobs and they're still having an issue paying their mortgage.
Until-
Their kids are out of all the activities. They've stripped themselves of any fun, and they're still having problems
We have
surviving.
at least 2 more years of this. Don't forget, Justin Trudeau is the one that appointed Tiff Macklin. And Tiff Macklin gave Justin Trudeau all the money he wanted during COVID. Okay? They're best of friends now. Justin Trudeau is not going to get rid of him. And with Tiff Macklin at the helm, there is no chance of relief for anybody. Period. He is ruthless. And you know that because he's the one that said everyone go out and spend, and then jumped out and said, aha, caught ya. Now you guys are going to be bankrupt. Aha, and we're going to give out bonuses and all this stupidness. So that's where we're faced. How are we going to joinder and be able to live and be able to have that white picket fence, be able to have our children playing in the background, in the backyard? How are we going to be able to do this? That's what's really going to be important. I think there's going to be a big move for intergenerational
There has to
homes.
be.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. And so, China has a thing where it takes 2 to 3 generations to pay off a house.
Don't they have like the longer amortization out there too?
No, I don't know if we're going to move to that, but I think we need to. But yes, it takes generations to pay off the house. So then now what you're getting is now your child joins in, and when they're of age to help to move things forward, and they're preparing to take over, like the queen and the king, their children then go next. I think we're all going to be thinking that way, which is going to be really hard because typically speaking, kids get to a certain age and they're kind of out of control.
Wow.
And then we have to maintain that relationship somehow because we need a successor. And they're the only successor. You're not going to bring in someone else's kid, right?
Well,
So-
I think that's one of the issues, like one of the stories I was looking at this morning, which is the garden homes, right? The garden, the backyard homes that, or alleyway home, whatever you want to call it. But they're becoming larger and larger, where there are a lot of neighbors in particular areas that are complaining because they're no longer these tiny homes going up in the backyard. If they have a sizable backyard, they're putting up an actual another like 2,000 square foot, homes,
yeah.
like 2 levels, whatever, and they're blocking anything. This is all people are seeing, and they're getting larger and larger, either to prepare for maybe the kids having that house, and they're right there with the grandparents for childcare, whatever. Or the bigger home they put back there, the more rent they can charge, right, to subsidize whatever's going on. But it's becoming an issue with some people right now. They're not liking the size of these homes going up into backyards.
Yeah, and I'd say to that, just too bad. There's always going to be haters. The same people who tie themselves to a tree to save the bugs and lizards.
You gotta stop with that.
No, I'm just saying those people, right? And I commend them because you're one of them, and that. But I think that okay, fine, you love the frogs and the lizards and whatever else that you're in love with in that ecosystem. But what about the people who can't now afford housing because you can't build the housing because you want more frogs?
It is not that people are in love with that much, but listen, there's a food chain in the world, right? The Lord invented a food chain. Everything has a purpose and a reason in the food chain. If you take out that, now what's going to happen?
Well,
the frogs
let's
are going to
look
be
at this.
overcome with insects. Everything has a purpose in life.
But before we get into even the
Hold on, I want to get
frogs
into that. So, what are lions thinking? Oh, you know what? Well, we don't want to eat too many of those buffalo.
No,
we don't want to. Nah,
No,
we gotta
that's
be
not
careful.
what I'm saying. That is not what I'm
what's
saying,
going
and you
on?
know it.
No,
What
but
I'm saying is everything has a reason to be in this world. Things, insects, everything.
Okay, even with the whole lions thing, a lion's not going to kill 10 buffaloes. He's going to kill one and eat until he's hungry. Again,
Right.
kill again. But regardless of the whole animal thing, we kind of, not even with Jackie, but like if I have my home and I have my backyard, and then all of a sudden, like, let's say I'm in a little cul-de-sac, whatever, and then I have my backyard, and usually you have backyard.
Yeah.
And then now instead I have this big 2-story building here. So
Looking in
so
your
you're
yard.
in your backyard now is just It's just basically it's like you're kind of walled in. So like
Okay, so the alternative.
And you got no privacy.
What's the alternative? So let's build a 5,000 unit building where every unit's 200 square feet. So now you don't have to worry about looking out and seeing something because you're right by the garbage in the building now. You're looking into the parking lot. You got I mean, you know. I understand how people want all that glory, but right now we have an issue. We got tons of land here in Canada. Land is not the problem here. We got land. We're the problem.
I'm not saying don't use the land. I'm saying maybe you don't need as much greenbelt area, but I'm saying when you have your area you're living right now with it was sectioned off, and all you have is backyards, and you're filling up all the backyards too. Then it's just.
Unfortunately, the solution is that we need more housing. And if we can't build it because there's bugs and lizards over there, we're building it in our backyard. And that's it. You can't have it both. You want all these special frogs? Remember I had a solution, and maybe this could bridge the world between the frog lovers and us people who actually want people to have housing, because it doesn't.
So you're
seem,
saying because we love nature, we don't want people to live in a house?
Well, you're stopping the housing from being developed. Yes.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, that's my equation. Yeah.
Then you need to go back to the drawing board because we're not like, well, I want the insect, the frog to have a home, but
so
not this.
why can't
Come
we
on.
build near the green belt? So why? Because we want the frogs to have homes, not the people. That's why. And so what I'm saying is that
trees produce oxygen.
Trees, we can have tree
everything.
farms. Go to Alaska.
What? So now what do? You're going to box up this oxygen from a tree farm over in the next province to bring it here?
Trees are not a problem.
I'm just
They're
saying.
not a problem.
I'm just
We
saying
can
there's
put
got to
trees-
be a resolution,
There
and the
is.
people that are deciding these things, they're not in the real world. They're rich people that are in a boardroom, and they're deciding for everybody.
You know what? I will say I cannot run the country, but I can certainly help with the housing thing. Want trees? Let's make our streets bigger and wider and put trees down the center so it's beautiful. Let's have trees and that along the side and flowers and all that. Where it comes to frogs and that, you just mandate it. Everybody has to have 3 frogs in their home. So you got to have an aquarium with 3 frogs. Now we got a great frog population. What else are you looking for? So you know what? Crickets, squirrels, forget about them. They're trouble.
Anyways, Anthony, do we have any emails?
We have 2 emails. So we have one from Lori. Lori says, "Good morning to the Real Estate Show. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Jackie, we love you." So you have a fan there, Jackie.
Woo-hoo, thank you.
I tried to write to you folks 2 times over the past week, but it did not work. Our apologies again for that, Lori. We are working on it. Hopefully by next week we will be all resolved.
Let's hope.
That would be my criticism of your show. Thank you for fixing that issue. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Who was that again?
That was Lori.
Lori. You should remember that. It's your only fan.
We have one.
So you got your OnlyFans.
Is that what it is, or is it fan? Well, what is that site? I always
you
get
had
it
it right.
backwards. How do you know that site?
I
Anyways,
visit.
One more from Sherry. Sherry, hi your team. Does this mean that if we fill out the contest form right now, you will not receive it? Yes, I think Lori. Sorry, not Lori. Sherry. So Sherry. So unfortunately, you do have to fill it in before the show. So look out for our next one, which will be in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I can't even fill it in, unfortunately.
So sorry, unfortunately, yes. So for today, Sherry, unfortunately, you will not be part of it. But next week, you can definitely, if you apply for the next one.
yeah. And what's the email right now that they can email in? Sorry.
You tell
In-
me.
on air.
Sorry. It won't be for the contest though. But for right now,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, any real estate questions, any responses to the show today, instudio101@gmail.com, and we will get that and we will reply to whatever the message
And
is.
we do realize we've had like over 50 emails of wondering what's going on with our emails. So we do appreciate everybody out there loving us and wanting to email in. So what's next, guys? Who wants to go? Okay, so talking about all this affordability and people having a place to live and all that, in BC, and now it's hitting Ontario, there's a company called Rent Haven. You can look it up, Rent Haven. And what it is they're working with certain landlords that want to work with them, because they are saying that, all the security deposits and the last month's rent and everything that we all pay, key deposits and everything for rental, that equals about $4 billion in funds sitting in accounts. That's just sitting there to, because people have paid all these extras for at the end of their lease. And if you don't, and if the lease, you renew it every year, then that money still sits there. So what they're doing is you have to apply the same as you would a normal rent. You have to be likable and all your paperwork in order and good credit and everything to get in the program. But what it is that there's a few landlords that are like, listen, I'm not trying to gouge people. I want to work with it. I want to get some good tenants, and I want to try to help people get into a place. So there is a very small monthly fee based on what you can afford. So based on your income and everything that you pay to be in the program, but you don't have to pay last month's rent right up front and all these security things. And there's going to be more and more coming on board. You're going to see this rolling out, I think they said next month probably, but it's Rent Haven. So for anybody who's looking for some different options in the rental market, go check them out. And and cool, Rent Haven.
Interesting. I thought it was sounding pretty good until you got to, there's a small fee.
No,
Yeah,
but they're
of
saying
course.
very small. Like in some cases, it's like $8. Like they're saying it's not huge. It's based on your income. So it's not like they're saying, well, everybody has to pay $500.
So why would I give them the $8 for?
A month? It's administration fee.
But why
to get
again?
into the program, to be able to afford and not have to come up with last month's rent and all the security and everything.
Okay, so it's...
So you're coming up with just, all you got to do, if you get in, a landlord likes you, you're just paying your first month's rent, and then you're paying
Plus
every
$8.
rent after that, right?
Plus $8 per month. Is it $8 forever?
Well,
I guess not, $8 is not that. It's not crazy. It's. I think
Yeah.
it's a good.
But that
trade-off.
$8 doesn't really go toward your building up your last month's rent or nothing
okay.
either, right?
I don't think that's that bad because it is.
I don't
it would
think
be,
so
It would be kind
either.
of hard for people to come up with the.
They got to have, they have to have people work in the system. They got to pay people. So, I mean, how are they going to pay them?
Yeah, that's true. I hear it now. The thing is I don't know where that's going to work. BC, maybe. I don't know
Well,
where
it's
it's
coming
going to
here
work.
now.
But
And they are, or it's here, and they're going to be rolling out in different
Why wouldn't
provinces.
it work though? In what sense?
you know how hard it is to rent something today? You know how it's almost
Oh,
impossible.
but this is guaranteed.
No,
There's an
there's
insurance.
there's no guarantee.
Listen to me. If
Okay.
the person
You're
doesn't,
missing it.
So you're
no,
but
if the
second.
person doesn't pay the rent, the insurance covers the landlord.
I hear you, but I think
It
he's
doesn't
saying.
matter.
I think the landlord would rather have someone he knows is gonna be there for a long term versus just the last month.
And someone who can afford first and last.
Yeah.
They can't afford first and last. What landlord's going to take them? I don't care what company there is. It isn't about the company.
Yeah.
It's about the landlord's home. And guess what? Not every landlord can afford to carry the two mortgages.
I think if
And-
in a
right?
different market, this is probably better. Like right now, where it's like you're fighting
too
through them now.
competitive.
Yeah. Before we move on, we have one email came in from Helen. Helen says your show is better than Jerry Springer.
Oh, jeez.
Go your team.
Jerry Springer was Randy's favorite show.
That show was hilarious.
Yeah.
No, it was Randy's favorite show. Every night he watched it. Every night. It was hilarious. He wouldn't go to bed until he saw Jerry Springer. It was,
Hey, that means that they're coming for the action.
yeah, well, we got the action. I haven't really broke out yet, Helen, so just wait.
All right, so before we get into the numbers, what I want to talk about is kind of getting into numbers anyways, but the title of the article is Unseen Consequences of Toronto's Real Estate Slump Leaves the City Strapped for Cash, right? So pretty much long story short, sales are down, which means the amount of money the government is generating from the land transfer tax is also down, right? So basically every time a house is sold, or anytime a house transfers from one person to the other in Toronto, the government gets a fee, right? And a pretty hefty fee, right? So, and it's basically the government, or not the government, the municipality, gets these fees. So the more houses that sell in Toronto, the more money that the actual city makes, which means they can have more money to fund the different things, whether it's fixing the roads, your garbage collection. I think garbage collection is separate, but it all goes towards things that for the municipality. So in that, there's a lot of different ways to make money. One is the vacant home tax, which has actually generated a good amount of money for the city. However, because the home sales have slowed down significantly, the money that they've received is actually around 40% less than the previous year, right? And this is actually resulting in a $65 million shortfall for the city, and it's looking like that trend might continue in terms of, I guess, year over year what the sales are going to do. So. Who knows what that's going to mean? Are they going to raise the prices next year so that they can bring in more money? Are things in the city going to be less? Is it going to be harder to fund different things? If the roads in Toronto are already kind of crappy, is that going to be even worse now? So time will tell with this. But again, the housing market doesn't only affect people trying to buy a home; it also affects the actual city itself, because that's probably one of their biggest ways of generating income for the cities.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm hearing little birds tweeting that, oh, we're in a full-fledged buyer's market. What do you think of that, Randy?
Yeah, and this is the part I'm talking about with the YouTubers. I think part of the problem is, I know I'm not a conservative person, but when it comes to the real estate numbers, I was raised for a very long time by traditional metrics.
Long time, guys.
Long time. And so, when you are looking at the marketplace and you're taking it literally, it feels like a buyer's market, but months of inventory overall is only 2.2%, which is in seller's range, which means that the number of homes that are on the market, if no more came out, even with these slow numbers, we would sell out in a little over 2 months. And so that's not a lot of inventory. However, when you move from half a month's worth of inventory to 2.2 in just a short period of time, that is a concerning issue in terms of the speed at which inventory is piling up on the market. Yeah. And that's really where the issue is.
There's a lot of choice out there right now.
Well, we're 44% above last year for new listings, right? So, and 39% for active listings. So the trend, as Randy said, is moving. So if we continue to increase at the rates that they're increasing,
yes,
then we will definitely be in a buyer's market fairly shortly. Again, assuming that the numbers continue to, if the trend has right now is kind of going up in that way, if it continues, we will definitely get to a buyer's market if it does continue. But time will tell for that, so we have to see. Because again, we're just coming off the summer market where, as Randy always says, the summer market generally is slower, and the fall market usually picks up a bit. So we'll see, I guess, in the next few months how these numbers actually correlate.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was talking to Randy this morning, and or last night, because I have a client looking at this listing, and it's out in Clarington, and so I start doing my little due diligence even before we go see it to see if there's any little things we should be aware of. And I'm like, wow, okay, 2018 they bought this place for 1.4 and change. So I always go back and I'm like, let's see what work they've done since they bought the house, right? And typically, when something comes back on the market and it's $1 million more than when they bought it like 5-6 years ago, typically they've done work to the house. Like you'll see it, they put in a pool, they've updated their bathrooms, the kitchen, and you're like, okay, wow, I can see where it is. But this particular house has done nothing. So the house looks good. I'm not saying that it didn't, but they bought it in 2018 for 1.4 and change, and they've now put it on the market. This is the third time they're trying to sell it, and it's at 2.4 something. And I'm like, crap. I'm like, wow. I'm like, said to Rainey, they haven't done anything to the house.
So they went from 1.4 to 2.4
since 2018
in 5 years.
But check this out. But when you go do your due diligence, Rainey's like, okay, let's go check out this, and it's not totally accurate, but based off what Trev is saying with the increases and all this stuff, this place is worth 2.3 and change. So you think about it, but then, and a lot of buyers get caught up in the fact that I do have buyers that say, well, what did they pay for it? Because, they're making X amount of money. I'm not going to give them that. But That's reality. Reality is they're making that money, but that's where
That's great. That's
it's gone, right?
70%.
I know, but that's what it's worth because that's what other places in the area are selling for as well.
Yeah, well, as a buyer, yeah, obviously, well, not obviously, but like you can't go off of what they paid for the place because if they got a deal, they got a deal. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
If every house around them, which if it's a replica of that house or similar,
Yeah.
it's selling for 2.4. They're not gonna sell it to you for 2.2 because they're gonna make $500,000. If they can make 700,000, they want that or whatever it is.
Hey,
unless they're the Mother Teresa of today, and even Mother
Exactly.
Teresa probably wouldn't do it.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
You know,
It's funny
so-
because you get people who come in, oh, you know what, I'm looking for a deal, someone who needs to sell their property. Well, someone who needs to sell their property is not going to give you a deal because you aren't related to them.
Yeah.
And so what they will do is they'll put it on the open market and let everybody fight for that deal and then let it go at whatever the best price they can get at that point. But they're not going to give you a deal. It's really interesting that people actually believe this to be true. And then they're telling you, hey, well, why don't you get someone? If you know someone, I'll just pay him cash. Well, dude, I can't do that. If I know someone, my job is to represent them to get the most amount of money. Why would I be reducing the money they would get? They're hiring me to give them the most amount of money, and so it's really, really interesting. But then, I understand that if you have a buyer client, it's a little bit different. You're going out and you're trying to negotiate the price downward, but you're doing that when everyone else has access to that property as well. So it is kind of interesting. As we had said, sales are down 7.1%. And while new listings are up 44.1% and active listings are up 39.8%. So what those three numbers mean is that sales are dropping, sales are declining, while new listings are shooting up like crazy. But the sales aren't. So obviously that means there's going to be a buildup of inventory, right? Once we have a buildup of inventory, that's when you're going to see a lot of pressure, downward pressure on prices. So right now, what we're seeing in the marketplace is that buyers are going to have the upper hand soon if the market continues to flow like this. See, we were all waiting for the fall market to come because the summer market was bad. It was bad market for sellers, wasn't a lot of transaction, prices were declining. The fall market comes, even less transactions, but the average price is going up. The average price is going up 3%. 3% in today's market with the prices the way they are is great. Especially with the environment in which you're in, is a very good price increase. However, it really doesn't mean a lot to sellers that are trying to get the prices that they could have got in February of last year, because that's where their eyes are focused, but it's just not going to happen. Are we in a buyer's market, balanced market, seller's market? None of that matters right now. The truth of the matter is sales to new listing ratios is 48.9%, which is a balanced market. And it's dropping. It was in 50% for a few months, 50 plus, and now it's down to 48, and it looks like that's going to continue to decline. Months of inventory right now at 2.2% is not telling the story.
2.2 months.
2.2%, sorry.
2.2 months.
2.2 months, thank you, of inventory, and that is not telling the story. If you look at that, that's a seller's market indicator right now, but we are certainly not experiencing on the ground seller's market type behavior in the marketplace. So we're seeing more of a balanced market behavior where neither seller or buyer has the upper hand. The average days on market, things are selling a little faster than they sold last year at this time, but there's very few sales. So one thing that I found really quite interesting is when I dug down into the weeds, I noticed that King City months of inventory is almost at 5 months, which is right there on the cusp of being a buyer's market, and that's in King City. So one of the richest, actually the richest, the most expensive place to buy we are seeing that they are having the hardest time to sell.
Right.
Inventories piling up, and the average sales to listing price is actually one of the lowest on the board at 96%, which means that there's not a lot of competition with buyers in that area.
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
Well, if the average price, because in King, they're at what, $2 million, that pool of people who has, basically if you're buying $2 million home, you already have a home or you have family money or something, because you're not, for a $2 million home, you need at least $400,000 for your down payment, right? And it's probably gonna be much more than that because nobody wants to carry a $1.6 million mortgage, right? So that makes sense to me, because at the highest price point, or one of the higher price points, you're obviously gonna have a lot less pool of people, and it's gonna be harder for them to get the competition really that you would in a $100,000 home.
Right, and then you're looking
$1 million home, sorry.
Right, and then you're looking at average days on market almost being 2 months. So with it being almost 2 months, and realistically sales is 26 versus active listings 159. So we are looking at one in six homes selling. So if you're in King City and you need to make a break for it, it's going to be really tough for you,
Well,
because one in six properties are selling.
You have to be aggressive. Your agent has to know where to place you in the marketplace that you're going to sell.
Right. So
Very strategic.
For that seller, you have 1 in 6 homes that are selling. That means that you only have, 15% chance, something, 20% of selling. And so, yes, as Jackie said, you're going to have to know your market, know your competition, know your solds. You're going to have to position yourself properly. You're going to have the best marketing. You're going to have to show the home very, very well, or you're not going to sell. You're going to be one of the 5 that don't sell. And so that's really, really tough. And even if you position yourself perfectly, you are still got to be patient, because you got a 60-day average days on market. So you really got to know your thing. So that's that. But you contrast that with something, let's just pick a random one, Whitby, where to sell is only like 23 days, and they're selling at 101%. So that means if it's on the market for $1 million, it's selling for 1.1. Or 1.01. And
they're expensive homes.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're like
average
2-3 million, and you're getting like
$1 million.
2-3 offers. No, the one that I was looking at the other day.
Yeah, that one. But we're talking average. Average is $1 million, a little over $1 million. And so that's I find that quite interesting. So what all I'm pointing out there is the markets are very, very different. Very, very, very different marketplaces depending on where you're located. Okay, so I know right now our richest community, King, is very tough to sell in, and then you can contrast that with other communities. Some are harder, some are easier to sell in. Know your numbers, people, if you are entering into the marketplace. I actually found it quite interesting also that Central Toronto was having, like C12 has 6 months of inventory, so that's 100% a buyer's market. Really kind of tough for them to sell, but they're still getting above asking, which is really, really interesting. Sales and new listing trends there is 33.9. When I looked at the home price index, man, have I seen negative numbers everywhere. Now, the home price index is this. It is comparing 3-bedroom bungalows in East York with 3-bedroom bungalows in East York. It makes sense, right? Similar size homes, similar size lots, they're comparing that. When we're talking about average price, we're looking at the whole market. It could be a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, a 5-bedroom, a 1-bedroom, all grouped together. But when we're doing the home price index, it's specific to specific areas and specific home types with specific sizes, and so
that's specific a lot.
So that's pretty specific. And so when we look at that, all over the place we are seeing negative growth. That's telling us the real marketplace. We're talking most of Central Toronto. When it comes to townhouses and condos, Prices are down like crazy.
Yeah, condos are taking
everywhere.
a hit right
We're
now.
starting to see that percolate into the single family detached. We're starting to see it percolate overall for the single family detached, single family attached, townhouses, and apartment are taking the biggest hits there.
I want to say one thing. I know are you done or no?
No.
We have to get to the.
we
Yeah,
only
we have
have
to get to
5
the draw.
minutes.
No, I
Yeah.
understand that. And that's why interrupting me will take longer. So the average price has grown over last month, $36,859. All right. So you wanna,
done?
Not really, but
You don't want to be finished, right?
You've thrown me off.
Yes.
So.
I just want to put out there before we do the spin draw for the Amazon gift card that we are doing a grand opening in our office. So I would love to meet some of these people that listen to us week after week. If you're in the Toronto area, it's going to be happening October the 28th between 1 and 3. Unfortunately, it's in the middle of the day, but we have to work with the mayor and the MPs and everything. But it's October the 28th. We'd love to see you. Come check us out. Come meet us. See what we got going on here. And yeah, it'd be great.
Well, you can meet us at 50 Richmond Street East in Oshawa. That might help.
Yeah, that might help if I give you the address.
So 50 Richmond Street East, Oshawa.
Unit 112 on October 28th. Email in if you want information on times and everything, but we'd love to get to meet some of our listeners.
Excellent. So let's do the draw. Are you ready, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's do this. What's the draw for?
25.
$25 Amazon gift card, as well as a matching donation, right?
Yes, to your
the
charity of your choice, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, it's way down.
here we go. And the winner is Eric N.
Eric N. So we will contact you and...
No, he will contact us.
Okay, you will contact us.
Eric N. You watch the show. Actually, Amanda, I think, will send out an email.
Yeah,
But
Amanda will, and then she'll get out your winnings and let her know which charity you want us to donate to, and we'll do that in your name.
and congratulations.
Eric M.
N.
N
N.
as in
Oh,
Nancy.
N as in Nancy. Sorry, Eric N.
Yeah, if you say it louder, it'll
Is it more?
more convincing.
Yeah.
So, how much time do we
You
have?
got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Wow.
Oh, wow, look at
Look at
you.
that. Jackie didn't go over this time. Huh? Well, that's good. You know, I guess in my heart of hearts, my biggest fear.
You love me so much. Is that
I
what
do.
you're going to say?
I do. I really do.
I just lost my earpiece on that note.
In my heart of hearts, my biggest, I guess, concern today, because I know I'm falling victim to it, is the being sort of depressed or unhappy about our economic situation and the pressures that it puts on us and others. And that hurts. But we've got to come out with something for the young children that are coming up in colleges and universities that just feel like they just don't have a chance. To let them know that it's not going to stay like this. And you know what? Learn from this, because this goes every generation. Like, this is it's now that they got us. It was in 1990 that they got the generation before us. And every generation they do this, they try to, that's why they call this the transformation of wealth time, where they just basically strip everybody of as much as they can. So knowing it, we want to be careful and probably more conservative. And when you see a market really heating up for a good period of time, be very cautious, because it looks like they will pull the rug out from under you. But what is it that we can do in terms of their mindset to give them hope? And I think that would be something that I would really like to see moving forward, that we try to address.
Good. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy your dinner and overeat like I'm going to. And yeah.
Or don't overeat.
That's the whole point of the holidays,
have to
Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Overeat. Eat until you can't move. Anyways, yeah.
Anyways, ladies and gents, happy Thanksgiving. And as always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on realityradio101.com. Have a
Bye
great
for now.
weekend.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.